and welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. I'm Rochelle Batiste with the details. A flash flood watch is in effect for St. Vincent and the Grenadines until further notice. The advisory, which was issued by the SVG Met Services at 2 p.m., states that a tropical wave is affecting our islands and deteriorating weather conditions are anticipated within the next 12 to 36 hours. We hear more in this report.
According to the SVG Meteorological Services, within the next 12 to 26 hours, approximately 2 to 4 inches of rainfall are expected. A flash flood watch is issued when conditions are favorable and there exists the possibility of flooding during the watch period. As a result of the weather advisory, residents and motorists in areas prone to flash flooding and landslides are asked to be on alert.
We can expect some deteriorating weather conditions. In fact, showers of varying intensities, that's between light to heavy, can be expected within this time period as well. And we can look forward to some light rain and isolated thunderstorms across our islands.
In its 72-hour forecast, the SVG Meteorological Services says significant rainfall accumulation is expected.
We are anticipating roughly rainfall accumulations between 50 to 100 millimeters or 2 to 4 inches with isolated high amounts in mountainous areas. The weather advisory that was already in effect for the risk of flooding for SVG has been upgraded to a flash flood watch, and this will remain in effect until further notice. At the Argyle station, we've already seen in excess of an inch, which is in excess of 25 millimeters, and it's highly likely that additional showers will continue. We are asking residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides, or if you're near rivers and streams, to be prepared.
Meanwhile, patches of Saharan dust are limiting showers activity and creating moderate haze at times. Wind speeds are expected to increase 35 kilometers per hour to 40 kilometers per hour on Thursday, and persons are asked to take note. As for the sea conditions, small craft operators and sea bathers are asked to exercise caution for above normal swells. Swell heights could temporarily rise on Thursday, ranging from 5 feet to 8 feet across our islands. The SVG Met Services says the flash flood watch may be upgraded to a flash flood warning if conditions warrant. Reporting for SVG-TV News from Dorsetshire Hill, I am Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
Thank you, Larissa. And Gerard Mercandante, team leader for the World Bank's Beryl Emergency Resilience Recovery Beryl project, has praised the progress made in St. Vincent and the Grenadines following the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl on July 1st last year. The World Bank, through a U.S. $63 million credit facility under the International Development Association, has supported the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in its ongoing recovery and reconstruction efforts. 1 year after the Category 4 hurricane severely damaged homes and infrastructure across the country. Mercandante described the work done so far as commendable.
When I'm back just 2 months ago, you know, it's heartening to see the level of progress already made today. You have schools, community centers, police stations, houses, all with rebuilt roofs on that process of recovery and re-establishing daily life. And I think it's an incredible thing to note that in less than a year, the reestablishment of the critical services that were affected at such a scale has taken traction and is clearly visible. And you have people that are coming back to the island, you have functioning of services, and I think this needs to be reflected on.
Mercandante, who also leads the Volcanic Eruption Emergency Project VEEP under the World Bank, said the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to demonstrate remarkable resilience in the face of natural disasters.
I think it's worth noting that since I began working in St. Vincent and the Grenadines 4-5 years ago at this point, I'm continually inspired by the hard work, resilience, and spirit of despair, really, of the Vincentian people. The ability to rise above the adversity, to recover, to reconstruct, to organize, to meet objectives that are both short and long. I think it's inspiring to me as a person, and you can see that every time I'm here, that resilience and that effort's at the core of really all Vincentians. And And it's truly, an inspiration for me to see this.
The World Bank had authorized the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to utilize funds immediately after the disaster, even before the loan was fully approved. This pre-financing mechanism allowed for rapid mobilization of resources for relief and recovery. So far, just over US $20 million has already been reimbursed by the World Bank. According to Mokandante, these funds have supported emergency housing repairs, infrastructure stabilization, and essential public services in affected communities. Meanwhile, Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Information Technology, Camila Gonzalez, has praised the swift response of the World Bank following the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl in July 2024. Speaking at the official launch of the Beryl Emergency Resilience Recovery Beryl project on Monday, Gonzalez acknowledged that without the financial assistance provided, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' recovery would have been significantly delayed. He noted that over 20,000 people were directly affected by the hurricane, and many have already received relief thanks to early support provided.
1/3 of our GDP, 20% of our population. And 1 year later, we have restored housing to over 4,000 affected people. We have reduced the number of people in those touristic accommodations from over 1,000 to just a couple hundred. We have restored electricity almost throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have restored water almost throughout the entirety of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. People who are wondering, what am I going to do? How am I going to live? How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to put this roof back over my head? When will the lights come back on? When will I be able to get some water coming out of my pipe? Have had all of those questions answered by themselves, by their communities, and by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which has done an exceptional job in the last year in responding to this disaster. And a big part of the response has been the Beryl project and our partnership with the World Bank. Hurricane Beryl struck us in July, and by October, the World Bank had approved this Beryl project. That is the quickest turnaround I have certainly ever experienced in work with the World Bank.
The Beryl project was formally implemented in November 2024. Gonzalez also emphasized that the government remains proactive in its disaster preparedness, acknowledging the growing threat posed by climate change.
We have to be rooted regionally and expanding globally, but we have to be resilient, because another hurricane season is here, and we have to pray that we don't get hit again. But we know that even if we don't get hit again this year, we will get hit again in the future. That is the nature of climate change. More storms, more intense storms coming our way. And so if you're going to get $1 billion hits to your economy, you have to make sure that you build back better so that the next time the storm comes, maybe the bridge will stand up a little better. Maybe the houses will stand up a little bit better. Maybe the emergency shelters, maybe the distribution points, maybe all of the response infrastructure, the telephone lines, maybe the water, maybe all of these things will withstand the next category 3, next category 4, next category 5 storm, because it is coming. Don't fool yourself. And we have mainstreamed the issue of resilience in all of our economic planning, in all of our forecasting, in all of our designs, and in all of our capital spending, because we have to make sure, in a world that is disinterested, in a world that is not paying for the damage that they've caused to the environment, we are on the front line of that. And we can't wait for anybody to take pity on us, because they will after the first storm, you know. Maybe after the second or third, but eventually they're going to say St. Vincent and Grenadines again.
The Beryl project, backed by a U.S. $63 million credit from the International Development Association, IDA, will continue until 2030. At the launch, officials announced additional support initiatives targeting those still recovering from the impact of Hurricane Beryl. Hurricane Beryl made landfall on July 1st, 2024, bringing destructive winds and torrential rains that left hundreds of residents displaced and caused widespread damage to homes, schools, and utilities, particularly in the southern Grenadines. The Beryl project is part of a broader portfolio of World Bank disaster response initiatives in the Caribbean aimed at helping small island states build resilience to climate-resilient shocks. Welcome back. The closing ceremony for the Roots Youth in Agriculture Summer Camp, hosted by the Rural Transformation Unit within the Ministry of Agriculture, was held on Monday, July 21st, 2025 at the Methodist Church Hall in Kingstown. The week-long camp, which ran from Monday, July 14th to Friday, July 18th, featured 5 days of hands-on activities designed to engage youth in agriculture. Participants took part in sessions on plant propagation, tree grafting, agro-based craft, and memorabilia creation, agricultural technology, agro-processing, fishing, and a farm visit. According to Senior Technical Officer of the Rural Transformation Unit, Corel Thompson Fergus, the initiative aimed to tap into the energy, creativity, innovation, and tech savviness of youth to help drive national development and transform the agro-food system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
When we started, the project objective actually looked at building awareness of youth about the importance and career in the agri-food system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and to equip you with the knowledge and skills required to kickstart activism, livelihood, career in the St. Vincent and the Grenadines agri-food system, to provide an opportunity to experience and apply STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math to food production, and to showcase real-life career in agriculture, and to just give you an educational environment in where you can express yourself during the school break. I believe we have, I can't say completely, achieve all of the objective, because we recognize that we would not be able to achieve all of the objective in just one camp, but I have seen where you were excited to apply those, the concept of STEM. You were testing soil, which is the science of soil, being soil technologist, testing the soil. You flew the drone, which is technology. You mapped areas using the GPS, and you also cooked and do agro-processing, which cooking is an art as it is a science, I often say. So you were able to create your own dishes, which I think for me, looking at you and actually be part of that was quite fun.
Thompson Fergus added that the Rural Transformation Unit hopes to expand the program next year and plans to follow up with participants, some of whom may pursue careers in agriculture.
But we want to follow you through to see if we can to achieve that objective of exposing you to career and to getting you involved in agriculture. Certainly we would not be able to just stop now. But at the end of this, we are going to give you a little toolkit. You're going to get some plants, seedlings. You're going to get some tools and a plant box to plant out your seedlings. All of them would not be able to hold in this planter. So we believe and we want you to find a little space or another planter or other planters, and you're going to plant them out. Now, that's certainly, again, not going to be the end, because you're going to have to take pictures every 2 weeks and send them so that we see, yeah, that your plant is doing fine. Because that is that part of the learning. You actually planted a garden, and that when you walk across Thomas Saunders, when you go back to school, you're going to say, we did that. I planted those pak choy. I planted those corns. I believe that the pak choy and some of the other crops that you planted might have matured by then, but certainly you're going to see the corn and perhaps the cucumbers when you get there. And I show you, even if you're not going to eat from those, that you would be happy that you have contributed to some sort of community. But also, you would have your own of which to be proud. You're going to have your own garden at home. That's the intention. You were also involved in budding and grafting. Now, we recognize that exercise needed a little more time, and that's how we learn. So, the facilitator volunteered to come here today for those who want to continue to do their budding and the grafting, so that you can have your tree to take.
Chief Agricultural Officer Renato Gums urged the youth to fully apply the knowledge and skills they gain throughout the camp to achieve success in agriculture. Meanwhile, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Cuthbert Nice, described the program as the beginning of a meaningful long-term engagement of youth in the agriculture sector.
I just want to remind you that today is not the end, but it's the beginning. Remember, what do you want to do with what you have learned? Very, very important. And please, never learn to forget. Never ever learn to forget. You have to be an ambassador for this field of agriculture. And remember, we're not just talking about planting crops. We're also talking about agro-processing. We're talking about research work. We're talking about adding technology to agriculture. So never learn to forget, and put what you learn to very good use. And I am very confident that you can do that. Remember, you can be anything in this world that you want to be. You just have to believe it and you work towards it. You're sharp, your mind is active. Do not allow anybody to tell you that you can't achieve in this field. You have to be an ambassador as well for this field of agriculture. You are the future. In you lie the future. You have to inspire your other friends, your other young colleagues. You have to bring them along with you. Share what you have learned with them. Encourage them. I saw the video. I saw your creativity. I saw your mind at work. You can do many things. You can do many more fabulous things. That video was very short clipping, so I know that you are not able to do all that you wanted to do. But even just a second, you have to think about it. You have to think about what you're going to put out there. And all of you had something there, which was very marvelous. So that is why you can build on that. If you see this field as your career path, which I think you should consider, please go for it, build on it, achieve.
Project coordinator of the Ridge to Reef project, Beryl, said they've been partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture to support a series of summer programs targeting youth development. These programs aim to address the ongoing environmental and climate-related challenges facing St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while empowering young people to build the knowledge and skills needed to respond effectively. Beryl emphasized that the Ridge to Reef project places strong focus on education, awareness, and capacity building as essential tools for youth engagement in environmental, sustainability, and agriculture. Speaking at Monday's closing ceremony for the Roots Youth in Agriculture Summer Camp, Beryl encouraged participants to remain committed to learning and to take an active role in shaping the country's environmental and agricultural future.
What you learned last week is not something to just forget and go back home or go back to school and don't realize and forget about the importance of what you learn. I hope what you learned last week you could be able to build on, even if it's you are being inspired to do something for your own self, or inspire your fellow friends or family on the importance of conservation, the importance of agriculture, and just that you'll be able to learn, that you were able to learn of the different ways of how agriculture can develop a career or can develop a hobby that can inspire you into your future. And, you know, as we stated, it's roots, youth in agriculture. So you are the roots and you are the youth. So how are you going to inspire us from what the summer program provided to you last week? I know also that there probably was some persons who stood out last week, and I hope that you really take this. And I guess for me is youth inspires everyone. And in my area, it's all about intergenerational approach. How can you inspire us and we inspire you at the same time? How can we provide more spaces for you to grow?
During the ceremony, certificates of participation, trophies, and gifts were presented to the students who took part in the week-long camp. The event celebrated their involvement and recognized their enthusiasm for agriculture and environmental stewardship. The Rural Transformation Unit under the Ministry of Agriculture continues to play a key role in engaging youth and promoting sustainable agriculture as part of efforts to strengthen the national agri-food system and enhance resilience to climate change.